Yo, homie got some fucking feathers, bro. What the fuck is this? Yeah, they did Homeskiller dirty. What the fuck?
What is up, Alien Army? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. And on this channel, we discuss everything out of this world. Is Jurassic World Dominion. So I watched it and I thought I was gonna have a pleasant, relaxing movie night. And what happened is that I saw fucking symbolism. How did I see symbolism, you ask? Well, in the beginning of the movie, they literally show you a fucking white rabbit. And I said, oh snap. I'm not gonna be able to just watch this as a regular fucking movie. I'm gonna have to take out my phone so I can make voice note this shit.
Oh my god, the symbolism.
And with that being said, I did see the white rabbit and I just want to let you all know that I'm mad as a motherfucking hatter. So when I talk about occult symbolism and Illuminati and New World Order and all of that, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just talking about conspiracy theories that are already out there, which you can research for yourself if you so desire. This is my channel. These are my views. These are things that I see.
But this video is for entertainment purposes.
Nothing said here should be taken up your booty hole. If I want you to take something up your butt, I'll fucking let you know. Jurassic World Dominion. What the fuck did I see? You've all heard of the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World series, starting with the book that began it all, which came out in 1990 by an author named Michael Crichton. This book is what the original Jurassic Park that came out in 1993 is based on. Following Jurassic Park in 1993, we have The Lost World, Jurassic Park, which came out in 1997. And then we have Jurassic Park 3, which came out in 2001. Moving into the 2010s, we have the Jurassic World series with a different cast of characters from the parks. When you hear me referring to characters as park or world, that's just what you need to know, because in Jurassic Dominion, the characters from the parks and the worlds combine into one big huge cast. So the Jurassic World came out in 2015, and we have Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which came out in 2018. Then we have this one, which I had no clue existed, called Battle at Big Rock, which was allegedly just a short film, which came out in 2019. Moving along to 2022, our topic of the day is Jurassic World Dominion. There are going to be potential spoilers. If you'd like to click out of the video now, feel free to do so. You can watch this movie on your own time, or
fucking don't.
Yes. And by the way, when I looked up what this movie earned, it was like something $1 billion in the theaters. That's interesting. And so we have our original cast of characters, which if you're familiar with the series from the parks and the worlds, you know who they are. We also are introducing two new main characters, and one of them is a velociraptor named Beta. The other one is a human clone named Macy. And the velociraptor, by the way, is actually a clone of Blue, the OG velociraptor that was in the Jurassic World series. Why is this velociraptor and this human clone important? Because the velociraptor is a clone which came from the velociraptor Blue, who basically just cloned itself. It didn't need a mate to reproduce, therefore giving the clone the same genetic characteristics as the original Blue. So there's Blue, the OG, and then there's Beta, the clone of Blue. Then we have the doctor, who was the daughter of the original founders of Jurassic Park, named Charlotte. And then so Charlotte is the one who created the clone of her, who is Macy. Keep in mind, clone. Have we
heard rumors about this before?
Cloning? I don't know. I might have heard a few rumors about cloning. Wait. Dolly the sheep. Oh, I'm gonna keep going back to that when Dolly the sheep got cloned too. This is way back in the day, but a sheep could be cloned, and that came out in the news. I don't know what I'm talking about, as they state. We have our two clones, who are the new characters introduced, and then we have I guess this is a character in and of itself, a global genetics company called Biosyn. Now when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, did we just peep Biosyn Sin. What is a sin?
Oh my god, could that be something that's written in the Bible?
There's a few more biblical references in here, by the way. The story that this movie is set, the dinosaurs are now intermingling regular animals on the planet Earth with the humanoids, and so you see them every day. It's common to see dinosaurs. And it's also common, according to this movie, to have black market dinosaur trafficking. Like, they're being sold illegally, and so the government stepped in because, of course, the government wants to step in and help out the global bioengineering genetics company. The government granted them sole proprietors to be able to trade dinosaurs and keep dinosaurs, I guess. So basically, BioSyn made an agreement with the government that they were the only ones who would have a monopoly on dinosaurs, whatever. Okay, that's how the story goes. This company has a facility which is under the mountains, the Dolomite Mountains in Italy. This facility, all the workers work underground and you just do genetic engineering, your DNA and shit, right? And then they have the dinosaurs above ground, like the headquarters of this company, BioSyn, and they're underground. Where else have we heard of underground facilities? I mean, Denver International Airport, that's a big conspiracy that comes to mind. Also, where's CERN? Oh my god, could that be located in Switzerland, the most mountainous terrain on planet Earth? I don't know what goes on under mountains. I'm just saying, like, this video said
This
fictional fucking story said that there was a bioengineering motherfuckers doing some scientific shit under the mountains, and then yeah, so we'll get to that. So the head of this big giant corporation biotechnical company is Louis Dodgson. If we look at the very first, the OG Jurassic Park movie, when we had Dennis Nedry, I don't know how I remember that motherfucker's name. So he was actually in that scene where, you know, they have the shaving cream cans, and then he calls out Dodgson's name.
Dodgson!
You shouldn't use my name.
Dodgson! Dodgson! We've got Dodgson here! See, nobody cares.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that this is the same Dodgson. That's all I'm gonna say. But when I saw the actor, I don't know if it's the same guy that played the actor in the 1993 film, but this actor to me looked, I mean, there was an uncanny resemblance to the famous public figure. If you see the resemblance, let me know. So this BioSyn lab, they have the monopoly over the dinosaur trade, and they also seemingly have a monopoly over like crops and things, because in the beginning of the movie, one of the farmers actually complained that their crops were being eaten by prehistoric locusts. And there was a farm right next to this regular farm, and that farm, none of their crops were being eaten by the prehistoric locusts, who were like this big, by the way, due to their, I guess, genetic engineering. This farmer was saying how BioSyn's crops were not being touched by these locusts, and the locusts were only going after like the regular farmers who were not part of that big global BioSyn community. I don't know, looked a little bit like a setup, like let me bioengineer these insects, locusts, which by the way are mentioned in the Bible and like one of the fucking plagues, I believe, apocalypse shit, you know, so much of it going on, I get confused sometimes, you know, but you could search that if you'd like. These locusts were engineered, as we come to find out in the movie, to actually do what is suggested that they do, to destroy other crops so that BioSyn's crops would be the only one available.
By the way,
it's really interesting, and if we just want to talk about locusts, right, not only are they biblical, but the fact that they were being bioengineered for a specific purpose. Wait a second, oh my god, this is a science fiction movie, right? Nothing is real. An article that came out on July 2022 actually states Egypti, I don't know, mosquitoes can be genetically modified and used to control other Egypti mosquitoes in a community. In the United States, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has authorized use of OX5034GM Egypti mosquitoes for release in counties in Florida and Texas. Coming away from that tongue twister, wait a second. There's an article that legit came out about bioengineered insects. Just like in the movie, the bioengineered locusts, only these are mosquitoes and they were released in Florida and Texas. Interesting, weird coincidence I noticed about these bioengineered insects being released in Florida and Texas, the only two states that really were fighting back against the cooties phenomenon in 2020.
Weird.
So that happened, but in the movie they're talking about locusts in the same format, right? Genetically modified species. Okay, so I guess that exists, only maybe not for locusts, maybe for mosquitoes. It's also stated in the movie that this company, Biosin, is profiting greatly from their monopoly over trading dinosaurs and over their monopoly in the food supply, because I guess they release these genetically modified locusts and the locusts are eating and shitting out everyone else's crops because they're programmed to. Speaking of programs, when two of the main characters from the Park series are on their way to Biosin because they were invited by another character, Mr. Ian Malcolm is giving a speech in Biosin. Because on their way there, as they're flying over the Dolomite Mountains, it's stated that the dinosaurs are outside and the humanoids that are studying them and conducting the research are underground, I guess an underground bunker. And one of the dinosaurs' names is actually Fear Nothing. That's what they say in the movie. Like, it has a dinosaur name like Who the Motherfuckasaurus, and then but it actually translates into Fear Nothing, which I saw that as another symbol. I was like, oh my god, the reptilian astral plane and Fear Nothing represented in the form of a dinosaur. So they're flying in the plane over the mountain region, and so these two characters are like, what if they try to escape or some shit? So the dude that works for Biosin, who we later find out was actually an inside spy and he was trying to take down the company because he thought they were corrupt, he tells them that they can communicate with all of the animals in that facility because they can send electrical inputs to the dinosaurs' brains to herd the animals remotely.
If we have to, we can just herd the animals remotely using a neuro implant that sends electrical signals directly to the brain.
To me would imply that perhaps the animals have a microchip inserted somewhere. Look that up. There are plenty of microchip things going on. You know, you can track your dog or cat. Hey, if your pet gets lost, there's a handy, convenient microchip. Just let's track and trace these motherfuckers. So this is apparently what's going on, right? So the microchip had to be injected somehow. We've heard rumors about microchip injections that might have been in a form of Kool-Aid, but I'm gonna just sip my tea. I don't drink no Kool-Aid. I prefer my tea. So I don't know. I heard things, you know what I'm saying? Again, mad as a hatter. Yeah, the dinosaurs apparently are able to be herded at will by the professors who commanding them because they have a chip in their brain or some shit. It's a science fiction, I just want to let you know. Here we get like a big lecture from this dude, Dodgson, and he's going on and on saying that Biosin is making a lot of money, but yeah, they want to help motherfuckers because they want to study the dinosaurs' DNA to help make advancements in perhaps curing Alzheimer's and cancer. Let's just juice them up with big pharma Biosin shit. Mr. Ian Malcolm, he says, well, this is just gonna sum up everything in the fucking movie now, isn't it? He says, when he's giving one of his lectures at Biosin, in order to instigate radical change, we must revolutionize human consciousness. What's going on right now? There's like a big talk about a mass awakening, and there's talk about fourth industrial revolution and melding the AI technology with sentient beings' consciousness, and there's talk of, you know, again, clones and androids and things like that. This is where we actually meet the OG doctor from the Park series, the one who genetically modified the locusts, and he's basically explaining to the clone girl, who, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but she was kidnapped along with the Velociraptor Beta, the two clones, Velociraptor clone, human clone. They're both kidnapped by Biosin because Biosin wants to study them. And so this doctor is basically explaining to her how she's a clone and this is how she was formed, and basically her clone, I don't even know what to call it, the person that cloned her out of her DNA, I guess would technically be her mom, but really isn't because she didn't breed. I don't know, okay, this is getting weird. This doctor basically had some sort of genetic mutation that she did not want to to give to her clone, who in theory would have all of her exact same genes, right? Because it's a clone. And then she was able to bioengineer some DNA, I don't know. She was able to, I guess, remove the damaged DNA and replace it with healthy DNA. This way her clone that she created would not have the same genetic defects. And remember, this original person is able to clone herself. This is the daughter of the OG Jurassic Park founder, dude, co-founder, whatever. So this doctor, because he's in on all this bioengineering shit, he basically feels guilty. He developed a conscience about everything that he has done, such as the bioengineered locusts, which are damaging the other farmers' crops, and about how, you know, comes back to the original film, how they played God by creating the dinosaurs from taking the DNA from the amber, then, you know, mixing it with the reptile DNA, whatever. Guys, there's a lot to it, okay? We ain't doing no specifics, but I'm just giving you the breakdown of, you know, what splicing and dicing DNA looks like in this film. Now this doctor wants to study the clone of the velociraptor and the clone human, because he created those locusts, right, who would essentially be the clones with the same DNA. They're programmed to only eat this type of crop. He wants to create now another locust, but only give it the genes, the DNA, the modification, so that this locust that is genetically modified can go in and kill and eradicate all of the other locusts that he designed. So it's like this locust is going to have a design in it that's going to infect the other locusts, and it's stated in the movie by this doctor that basically he can annihilate an entire generation with like one switch, because the DNA is being controlled by those who created the DNA, right? Those who, you know, if you inject something in yourself, you know, there's DNA, there's RNA, there's mRNA.
Oh my god.
There's so many motherfucking things. Now we're gonna move along to the couple from the Jurassic Park series who somehow wanted to find out what was going on with the locust, so they snuck in to get some of the locust DNA so they could study it, right, the bioengineered shit. And now they're running away in some tunnel somewhere, and this tunnel happens to be infested with Dimetrodons, that type of dinosaur. So they're coming after this couple as well as the clone girl, because the clone human girl met up with the couple somehow. She found them and they were on the verge of hooking up or some shit. So now those three are together, and then we have Ian Malcolm, who's on the outside trying to rescue them because they were in this tunnel and they're trying to escape through this gate, but the gate is locked, of course it is, and there's a like passcode, right, where you punch in the numbers of a specific code to open the gate.
Can I tell you?
It is like 3 o'clock in the morning. I saw this scene, I fucking screamed. Mr. Ian Malcolm punching in. He's like looking, he's like, well, I don't know what the code is to get you guys out. I don't know what the code is.
Do you know the code?
I didn't know there was going to be a code. I didn't know there was going to be a code.
Oh my god, oh my god! Brake! Pull the brake!
10,000 possibilities. 1984.
Are you fucking shitting me?
Are you fucking shitting me?
1984. Hello, like they put that in the fucking movie. They
Put that in the fucking movie.
And no, it did not open the gate. He eventually opens the gate. I didn't really see, or they didn't really show what the number was, the magic number to open the gate was, but the fact that 1984 was the first thought. 1984, very interesting. During 2020, the 1984 came up a lot because 1984 is a book about a dystopian society with like Big Brother, artificial intelligence, and interesting stuff. But you know, 1984 is just a conspiracy theory. I don't know why that was going around a lot in the year 2020, or maybe before then, but yeah, it's a book, so they wanted to give like a shout out to that book, I guess. So now we're cutting back to those bioengineered prehistoric locusts. This dude over here, Lewis Dodgson, he set them on fire. It's purported to destroy the evidence, you know, whatever. So he sets these genetically modified locusts on fire, and somehow they escape through the containment chamber. Now there's like flying, flaming locusts that are just swarming, and like everyone is looking like,
oh snap,
his biblical prediction come true, the fucking plagues of Egypt or whatever the fuck. In this movie, I must say, there were some scenes that had me quite enraptured. I thought I was gonna sit down and be bored during it, but I wasn't bored. I said,
oh snap.
made my fucking night. So yeah, the locust plague happens, and then at this point it is demonstrated about the active chip in the dinosaurs' brains, because you know now the facility is like there's like bedlam and shit, because there's like flaming flying locusts in the fucking air, and then there's like containment chambers being broken out of, and there's like trespassers in the building and shit. But what happens now is that they call like an they call an evacuation to this facility, and in doing so they want to get all of the dinosaurs into one central location so that they'll be easier to contain. And this demonstrates what we discussed first, that they must have a chip inside their brain that just click of a switch, and then all the dinosaurs you see, they start herding along to their containment chambers.
Science fiction.
Science fiction. I don't know. Could you really put a chip in someone's brain and then control them from a centralized source if you wanted to?
I don't fucking know. I'm just saying that it's like.
So then now, after all this bedlam ensues, Dodgson says, don't worry guys, we can still make money from this. But wait, he said a little bit ago that he wasn't in it for the money. He wanted to help cure cancer and Alzheimer's. So really, I don't know, really change of pace for him. But it's just how the story goes. I ain't write it, I ain't direct it, you know what I'm saying? Because if I had directed it, I'll tell you what, I just have to save my own personal commentary. I was waiting out the entire fucking film for this dude, Ian Malcolm, to say, must go faster. I was waiting for it, I swear, because they paid homage to so much other shit from all of the other movies in the franchise. If you're familiar with the series, you'll see what I mean. But they were like putting all these little things in there, right, from the previous movies. His famous line, must go faster, when the 1993 film came.
Must go faster.
And then they had this motherfucker Jeff Goldblum, Ian Malcolm, in Independence Day. And then when they're in this alien spaceship, him and Will Smith.
Oh, they're closing up on us. They're closing. Shut up! Must go faster. Must go faster.
Oh my god, so that must be a line that Holly Weird is putting Jeff Goldblum out today. And I was waiting for it in this film, and I must say I was mildly disappointed. Other than that, like, this is great symbolism. I enjoyed myself, you know what I'm saying? I was quite enraptured. I was waiting for that and it didn't happen. So I'll take a star off for that, because I was hoping for Must Go Faster. The place is shut down, it's being evacuated, and then we have a wonderful union with all of the characters, right, including the clone and the dinosaur clone, the velociraptor clone. Everyone is reunited, but then they're trying to escape some other big ass dinosaur. I don't even remember the name. Everyone kind of lives happily ever after. Ending footage, someone is telling a story like, yeah, and so Dr. Ian Malcolm continues to speak about the dangers of bioengineering, and we have the dinosaur Beta reunited with the clone that made it, Blue the velociraptor. It was like a little scene where the dude has like some crazy eye contact with Velociraptor, like they're having a telepathic conversation, because I mean, who doesn't have telepathic conversations with reptiles? We also have the happily ever after, where the original Doctor from the Park series goes and releases a locust into the crowd, and then he does some like biblical hand gesture. We see the locust flying and he looks really happy. There's like soft music playing quietly in the background, and I guess he engineered that locust to wipe out the other locusts that were eating all the crops. It wasn't too clear, but it did say that he was able to redeem his work, so I'm assuming he was able to study the clone of the girl to find out the DNA that, remember, her clone mother gave her different DNA, and then she was like the key. Was a clone, but then she didn't have any genetic defects, right? You remember that whole song dance. So I guess he was able to redeem himself, and then the OG couple from the Park series, they finally ends up together. Isn't that cute? And then we have the couple from the World series who is reunited with their clone daughter, that I guess they're not her parents, but they're figures, and you know what I mean, whatever. So everyone is united, everyone's happy. Ian Malcolm is giving his speeches, because that's what he do, even though he didn't say must go faster. I don't know why that bothered me so much. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a great movie. It kept me entertained, so maybe it was great, because I'm easily bored, but I'm also easily amused. But I was amused by the occult symbolism here, which, by the way, this is all from my perspective. It's all science fiction, of course it is. We do see that there's a happy ending for everyone involved. I guess not for the Dodgson guy or the locust that got burnt up and then were flying in a rampage. The movie did not end on an apocalyptic scene. The movie basically had like a happily ever after. Just like that, we all have our happily ever after when we realize that this is just a movie and there is absolutely no basis in reality. That's why the movie is science fiction. Even though there were some things that I recited to you that kind of seem like they might be real, because there are stories that came out by accredited, reputable news sources, such as, you know, the genetically modified mosquitoes and the cloning of Dolly the sheep. Accredited news sources did state that. So, I mean, who am I to argue with an accredited news source? We can live happily ever after knowing that this is just a movie, and it's purportedly the last one in the series. We'll see how long this fucking lasts, right? I don't believe it. I never believe it. I mean, look how many Halloweens there were. Look how many fucking Friday the 13th. Oh my god. Look how many Alien movies came out. Alien versus Predator. Listen, I ain't trusting nothing like that. They're like, oh, the last one in the series. I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll see about that. We have our own happily ever after, as well as we come to the conclusion of this video knowing that all of this is science fiction and absolutely no basis in reality. From my boy Shakespeare, let every eye negotiate for itself and trust no motherfucking agents. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful stroll. I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. We will chit chat again soon.